Dear students, today I welcome you for the e-classes, visual classes, which you can take benefit of it and plan your chapters, revise your chapters accordingly. Today I will discuss on Class 8 Geography, Chapter 1, which deals about the resources. You know that there are different resources which we use, and without these resources, life is impossible. So today, we will discuss various aspects of the resources. We use things the earth gives us to help us live better lives. Now, can you tell me that how these resources are available to us? Can you identify some resources from your daily life? All these resources which are available to us becomes a resource for us when certain characteristics are added. Anything, in a simple way you can understand that anything which satisfies our need is a resource. And it should have some utility and value for us. Going further, I would like to discuss about the resources which are available to us nearby in your locality. Now, to start with, how does something become a resource? Utility or usability is what makes an object or substance as a resource. Do you understand utility? Means how useful it is for us. And this makes a resource for us. In the same way, value means worth. Some resources have economic value, some do not. For examples, metals may have economic value, a beautiful landscape may not. So what do you understand? Everything which is available to us freely is a resource. Do you agree with this? There are two groups of people. I would like to say scientists or scholars who says that resources are free gift of nature and they are freely available to us. Some group of people say that resources are not free gift of nature. It is the human mind and technology which makes a resource or any object, any material which is available, a resource for us. So, there are a wide group of people who say that resources are free gift of nature and has been using these resources in an indiscriminate manner. And result to that, in today's scenario, you can see that some of the resources have come into the extinct level. They're going to finish after a period of time. This is the high time where you have to think about these resources. So coming to the next slide, these are some of the resources which you can identify from your locality, from the settlements nearby you. Now, in this picture, see the different types of resources. You will find natural resources, human-made resources, resources in the form of energy, the different types of resources like rocks and minerals, how they have been used. Coming to the next picture, here is a wonderful example from a Himalayan state where you can see a nature. And along with that, the settlement pattern, how the resources have been used, the rock types, the roof, which has been made with the help of local rocks available in that area. You can see the terrace cultivation. You can see the mountains. So all these are very good examples of resources. Coming to the next slide, here I have shown you a picture over here which shows resin which is collected from the chir pine trees found in the Himalayas. And this resource, if you identify it properly and try to search for the answers that how and where these resources are used. And going to the next slide, this is a good example from your school where you study. The different resources of nature, you can see, try to identify it. The Himalayas, the gift of Himalayas, at the high altitude peak where you reside, where your school is there, you have snowfall, you have the coniferous forest available, you can see the snow, along with the settlements, along with the electric light, wiring. All these are very good examples of resources. So, it means that we cannot think of life without resources. Coming to the next slide, a very wonderful example. of nature, where you can see a natural resource as a soil, you can see the cultivation, the crops which is grown, the vegetation, even the mountains. All these are resources which are helpful for us in some or the other. So all this shows the importance of resources. We need to conserve, we need to preserve these resources. Coming to the next slide, in very simple way, if you want to define a resource is something that we can get from the earth over and over again. Example of resources are different resources which is available in your mother nature, in the planet where you live. Air, water, soil, rocks, all these are very good examples of resources. Coming to the next, how we use them. I discussed earlier that how a resource becomes a resource. It should have some use for us. We use resources to make things and to grow things we need. Some examples I have put forward. Water to drink and grow plants for food, shelter and clothing. Soil to grow plants for food, shelter and clothing. Rocks for building and jewelry. Metals to make cans, building parts and jewelry. Sand to make glass. And oil to make plastics and gasoline. So by the help of different resources, we are developing some other resources which are helpful for us. Coming for the discussion of different types of resources, now you can group the resources into natural resources and human-made resources. A very simple classification of resources. From your local environment, you can tell what are natural resources. So natural resources are classified into different groups depending upon the level of development and use, origin, stock and distribution. So these are different bases on which we can classify these resources further. Now these types of resources, natural, based on origin, biotic, abiotic resources. Biotic resources or abiotic resources. Can you tell the difference between the biotic and abiotic? You have been studying biotic, abiotic in biology also. And this is very important component of resources. Abiotic resources are non-living, while biotic resources are living. Example for biotic resources: plants, animal kingdoms. Abiotic: air, water. So all living things comes under biotic, and all non-living things which are important and essential for us, but they are classified under abiotic resources. Next category is based on the utility. Renewable, non-renewable resources. Renewable. have been using since long time. But we are not aware of it. Due to our technology, we have started these resources using in different ways. And these renewable resources are those sources of energy resources which never finishes. They never extinct, like solar energy and wind energy. Non-renewable resources are conventional sources of resources which we have been using since long time, traditionally since long time. Example, fossil fuels, minerals, etc. Like coal, petroleum, we have been using since long time. And due to the continuous use of these resources, one day these resources are going to finish. These resources are going to extinct. So we need to switch over to renewable resources, which are unlimited stock, you can say. Only thing is, you need to have that technology by which we can use these resources for a common people. Similarly, based on the level of development, you have potential and actual resources. Potential resources are those whose entire quantity may not be known, and these are not being used at present. These resources could be used in the future. Depends upon the level of technology we have at present, may not be advanced enough to easily utilize these resources, but in future it can be used, like solar energy, tidal energy, geothermal energy, and many others. Another classification of based on the level of development is actual resources. Actual means presently which we are using. Those resources are known as actual resources, whose quantity, quality is known to us. We have done the survey. We know how much quantity of these resources are available for us. Like fuel energy, wind energy, and many more. Another category is based on the distribution, localized and ubiquitous resources. The resources that are found everywhere, like the air we breathe, are ubiquitous. So those resources which is present everywhere is ubiquitous resources, like soil, wind. But some resources are available at certain areas only. Like we can talk about the gold, which is not available everywhere. So that can be put under the category of localized resources. Now, we'll discuss about the human-made resources. People use natural resources to make building, bridges, machinery and vehicles, which are known as human-made resources. So everything which human beings, we have created, we have developed. It can be your classroom, the table on which you sit, the clothes which you are wearing. All they are part of human-made resource. So in that way, human beings are very important. A resource that makes human beings are important and special resources. Technology is also a human-made resource. So we are at the center point of the study when we study about the resources. Because it is our mind, it is our technology by which we have developed resources today, and these resources are satisfying our need. Now, next aspect about, after all, you have learned about what are resources, what are the different classification, what makes a resource a resource. The important thing is conserving these resources. We need to conserve these resources. Now, what is this conserving resources? Using resources carefully and giving them time to get renewed is called resource conservation. Balancing the need to use resources and also conserve them for future is called sustainable development. I will explain you this. So how you are using the resources? In today's scenario, I still remember the thought of Gandhiji. He said that nature has given for everybody's need, but not for the greed. Everything is available in the nature, but if you become greedy, then these resources are going to extinct. So you need to use these resources carefully, and we need to think about future also, how this can help to coming generation. So at Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit, this first time this word sustainable development was discussed. Now what is this sustainable development? In my simple language, use of resources in present, keeping future in mind is sustainable development. So balancing the need to use resources and also conserve them for the future is called sustainable development. Now, in order to conserve these 3 R's we have been discussing, in order to make resources last, we must take care of them. Renewable grow over time like trees. Non-renewable, we can never get more like aluminium. Inexhaustible, we will never run out like air or water, but can be ruined by pollution. So, keeping this in mind about renewable, non-renewable and inexhaustible resources, we need to keep in mind some principles of sustainable development. So we must respect and care for all forms of life, improve the quality of human life, enable communities to care for their own environment, reduce how much we use, reuse what we can, recycle whatever we can, in order to help our earth be able to keep providing for our needs. Means we need to help this Mother Earth also. We need to respect it. And if you respect the nature, you can live a sustainable life, a peaceful life, life full of joy. Some examples in the form of pictures I would like to discuss with you. These are the coal, natural resources like air and solar energy, water in different forms, wind energy. Soil is very important part, a very important resource. You cannot think of life without the soil. Similarly, several minerals, copper and aluminium are shown here over here. This which are available, and by our mind and technology, human beings have made it usable for various purposes. You can see the picture. Sand and limestone, which is used for construction, buildings, making glasses. Salt and silver, you cannot enjoy, I would like to say, if salt is taken out from your food. Can you enjoy the food? So this also we get from our Mother Nature. The different minerals. Clay and coal, which are used for various purposes, construction, tiles making, for fuel is used for burning, for cooking in industries. So all these are different examples of resources, how we get it, how we use it, and at last you should remember: reduce, reuse, and recycle. These 3 R's, it should always be in your mind. Save our natural resources at last. So be safe at your home and enjoy this lecture. I hope you have understood, and in the coming lecture I will discuss the different aspects of other resources individually. It can be a water resource, forest resource, soil resource. We will discuss this in our next lecture. Thanks for watching. Thank you.